living off of it because it's something that I really, really love. Like I when I started dancing, I
Hmm.
finally felt like I found my place, you know? So like I am determined to like make that
So is
my way of
that
life one
your
way or
main
another.
thing? Or do you have, and then are there other things that kind of
Yes.
make up your hobbies or your passion? Things that you think you could also take seriously?
Yeah. I'm I want to just like soak up the world. Like I just want to be able to experience and do
Yeah.
and live to the like farthest extent. So I just like I had a thought recent. I was working today and I had a thought and I kept like doing this like
Yeah.
air guitar just as like a tick because I'm never not moving. So just as kind of like a tick thing, I was following the beat to the music that we play at work with this air guitar, and I was like, I want to learn guitar. That would be an awesome skill set. Like all of those little things, like I just want to like do everything. But my main things are aside from dance I want to make my number one. But aside from dance, I love, love, love to write. I'm currently writing two books based on
Yeah.
writing assignments I was given by my sophomore English teacher. Um, and those are going really well. I hope one day I can, after those are like written, maybe I could make a
Hmm.
film out of them because I think very cinematically when I write, but that's kind of like a reach goal that
Hmm.
would take a very, very long time and a lot of effort and money. Um, but I love to write like
Okay.
a lot. It's like kind of one of my outlets, one of my vents. Like if I feel like I'm like in a spot where I shouldn't be like, I'll
Hmm.
express it into a piece of writing one way or another. And just like hold that as like a place. Um, and then I also really love, weirdly enough, I've always found the fashion
Hmm.
industry and the art of modeling and designing clothing
Hmm.
and putting pieces together in ways that are very unconventional,
Hmm.
very like fascinating for me. Like I have the most absurd wardrobe of anyone that I
Yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah.
I wear the wildest
I could see
stuff
that.
all the time. Like a casual look for me is super wild for someone else. And I
Oh,
don't know,
that's
I
really
just really
tight.
love it.
That's I like when there's
So
multiple things going on and you don't feel obligated to be tied down to one thing.
yeah. I could never imagine myself being tied down to one thing. Like I've always lived my life so like I guess like constantly multitasking. Like I'm constantly dabbling like in new experiences, new
Hmm.
skills, new like there's always something new for me to like try and learn it and grow from. And it's my parents taught me to try and live
Wait,
that way.
hold
It
up,
gives
hold up. I don't know, you kind of like phased
um
out. I know that
just
I
happen.
think the connection definitely is like probably spotty where you're at currently. I don't know if it's your connection overall, but it might be the spot. Um, I'm not sure.
I think my Wi-Fi
Oh,
just shut off,
okay.
so I'm on data, but that's okay.
Um, I hope so. You like
Is
you
it better
lag
now?
a bit, and which is fine because I could still hear you, but I just don't know what the user experience is like for everyone else. Hopefully, it's okay. Um, you can hear me, right? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just replying to someone who said, yeah, my Marna said it's lagging. Okay, or was lagging. Hopefully it's okay now. I mean, it seems fine. Like it would show like jittery motions. I don't know if you see it on your end, but it's happening on my end. Oh, okay.
No, I don't see it.
Yeah.
That's how yours was when the call first started, but then it was like fine, and I was like, oh, okay, everything's fine now.
Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, did you say that writing a book is gonna cost a lot? Did you say that?
No, I
Oh, okay.
said turning it into a short film would cost a
um,
lot.
yeah. Yeah.
To write a book is completely free. It's my time, but
Mm.
to produce that into a cinematic sort of thing would be the thing that costs money.
Yeah, for sure. Um, that'd be dope. Like, I love talks like that, just
Yeah.
talking about anything that we can see ourselves doing, and there's no doubt in the air. Those talks are fun. So, yeah, so that's good. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I could definitely ask you a bunch of random questions. Do you have any other specific thoughts? Do you want to share or ask me any questions? It's more about you than it is about me, so like you kind of
Um.
like control what's happening right now.
Oh, geez. The only other thoughts that I have right now of like other things I could talk about is just me being an absolute dork and ranting about Marvel stuff. Because that's like
Yeah.
a big part of my
Okay.
thought process and my
Is
day.
that
So,
something that I don't know what kind of question am I trying to ask with that? Does it keep you going? Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, I connect to Marvel
Oh,
a
that's dope.
lot, like a lot, a lot.
Which
It's kind of
characters I
wild.
guess you resonate with the most, or you're drawn to?
I have a huge, like, I don't know why, but for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, I really, really like anti-heroes. Like, um, I don't know. I feel like I make a lot of jokes and stuff about how I like came from hell and I'm like an evil person and I'm a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
total Slytherin and like all this stuff. Like I'm so evil. Uh, like I make jokes about that all the time. But in all like reality, like I really, really resonate with characters like Bucky and Loki
Mm-hmm.
and Deadpool and all these other anti-heroes who aren't completely bad,
Mm.
but they are misunderstood in their person
Mm-hmm.
and there are reasons that they act and behave the way they do. Like for Bucky, he was
That's a long
brainwashed and
ass time.
kidnapped for about 70 years and then became yeah, and then became a wildly successful assassin that but he was an assassin for Hydra, which was a branch of Nazis. Um, and then Loki, he was just lied to so brutally by his
Mm-hmm.
adoptive father about his purpose and his origins. And he was pushed to the side and so, like, blindsided by Odin, his dad. And it just
Mm-hmm.
made him this so, like, upset and just like misunderstood and he felt forgotten and used when and all this other stuff so he's just a very sad boy trying to like
Mm-hmm.
make up for what he thought he lost because of the lies he was told and then also Wade Wilson Deadpool is literally he was a hitman and like con artist, and but he did it for the betterment of the little guy, like
Mm-hmm.
for the underdogs, you know?
Understood.
So he like killed a lot of people, but he did it in the process of
Yeah, yeah,
trying
yeah.
to
I
better the
can relate
lives
to that as
of
a person.
those who are
I had
undermined.
that
So
attitude. I mean, I didn't get like brainwashed. Maybe we're all brainwashed to an extent, but not in that way. But having that feeling, that very specific feeling that you just talked about, I know what that's like. That shit is heavy.
yeah. And I relate to Spider-Man quite a bit just because of his like um innocence as like a young kid. Like he's a 14-year-old boy with these incredible powers who is taken in under the wing of a genius billionaire
Yeah,
playboy philanthropist, as Tony Stark would describe himself as. And he's shown this whole other world and realm of like superheroes, and he's put into these like huge battles to save the world, and it's wild. But in the end, Peter Parker is just this kid who doesn't want to be late for Spanish and do well on his math test. Like he's just another
yeah,
kid, but he happens to have this huge responsibility on his back. So I relate to Peter in that sense of like being young, but like feeling the need to
yeah.
like be more.
Okay, okay. I don't have a lot of comments sometimes. I'm just like appreciating what's coming out of your mouth and and the energy. Like that's kind of like where I'm at. Um, and I just appreciate it.
This reminds Yeah. I have all my Funko Pops at the end of my bed, and I took two of them to a sleepover, so I need to get them out of my backpack. I literally take a
Ooh, that's
Marvel
cool.
character everywhere I go. It's
That's cute.
absurd. Me, a 16-year-old girl
I
carrying toys with
carry,
her.
not all the time, but depending on the situation, I'll carry a plushie. Useful
Valid.
in a lot of situations, especially if I feel like I might end up sleeping somewhere that's not my house. And it's just comfortable. I don't know. You should think about doing it. It's nice to have like, cause like for example, right here, right now, I'm kind of just like, but then when you have something here, you can kind of like rest it. Yeah, plushies are nice.
Yeah.
Can I have the rest?
I've I keep okay. This goes right back to Marvel because it's literally in every aspect of my life. But I've
Yeah.
been trying to find a Bucky plushie
Hmm.
because he's my favorite character. I don't know why, but I just feel like I like connect with him some way on another level. I don't exactly know how or why yet, but I just know that he's my favorite for some reason. like like my top three favorites that I like hold closest to me in order go Bucky, Loki,
That's tight.
Spider-Man. And I haven't put together why yet, but I
I
know
really
that
like
there's a
Loki, by the way. I
reason.
didn't say that, but I'm not like super in that world or anything. I just kind of
I
like,
love
oh, the
Loki.
movies are dope. But I feel that.
And that's valid. It's a lot to get into. Uh there's like I follow it to a point where it's like, what do you, is this all your free time is? And
Yeah.
it's not,
Hmm.
but it's a lot of it, but it's not all of it. I've been, during the summer when I didn't have as many dance opportunities as I normally do. Like, normally in the summer, I'm like training on end like for hours on end until the wee hours of the morning. But this summer we kind of shifted the way the team works, and I haven't really been as active this past
Mm,
summer. So I spent a lot of time learning about this. And I know so much.
yeah,
My parents call me the
that's
Marvel Wikipedia.
no. I mean, that's cool.
It's
I think you can learn a lot from
interesting, but
whatever it is you decide to invest your time into. Like when something pulls you in, you learn a lot. Like what I do is if that happens to me, I just like the I guess the one thing I can relate that back to was when I was really into BTS. I still love them a lot. I'm just not as on top of everything that's going on with them
me oh.
where I was before. Um, but there's a reason. There was a reason for that.
Hmm.
And then I'll step back and be like, well, why did this happen? And this is just me being in my head. But then I'm like, oh, I get it. And then they also give me that strength and that drive. They're part of that for a few different reasons. So, oh, my
Yeah.
thoughts.
Thoughts on Idol?
um, I think it's dope. I like the attitude. Um, and I always appreciate that they're always pushing to do something different. Um, the message. I don't know.
Hmm.
I just really enjoy it all. My favorite is still. I think I do like Fake Love the best out of all of them so far. Um, Fake
Mm.
Love is like my shit. I still mess with DNA. I like Spring Day, Save Me.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think out of all those, Fake Love is still like my top.
What was the first BTS
The
song
one that I
you
was
ever
aware of that
found? Like ever heard?
turned me to them, because I think I've heard some of their other stuff, but I just didn't really care, was Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Ah, see, for me, it was Boys with Fun. I was watching a live performance of Got Seven, and BTS was right before them, and they performed Boys with Fun, and I was
Yeah,
like, "This is a bop. Who is this?" And I went straight into a deep dive.
yeah. I remember seeing some of their stuff and whatever, but I definitely wasn't into I've been in and out of K-pop, and I was never huge on anything except for like the Taeyang and Big Bang thing when that was happening, and then I kind of fell out of that. Um, but as soon as I heard Blood, Sweat, and Tears, I started listening to it. Then I would start listening to the other songs, and I was like, I don't know what they're doing, but I really like it. Um, and then I heard about, they're not from the big three, and I was like, okay, that's really impressive. And then I could just recognize from the jump that their sound was very different. Because then I started re listening to a bunch of what's currently happening, whatever. I'm like, yeah, their sound is more modern and just catchy in a way that I guess is globally appealing, not just K-pop appealing. So then I just kept going, and I was like, oh my goodness. And then I heard their stories, and I
Uh-huh.
was like, dude, y'all are the truth. And then like what they're pushing lyrically, what they stand for, I was like, okay. And how the music videos are connected, and they're trying to tell a story, and I was like, what is this? How are you doing this? I want to be that good. Um, and then finding that a lot of the choreographers I look up to are choreographing for them, and I was like, that looks like a very Keone thing, and I was like, of course it's Keone. Wow, I'm glad it's Keone who choreographed this and that and this. So, yeah, they're great. It was all because of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Then I was like, oh, Save Me's really dope. Yeah.
I'm Idol makes me so happy because watching them go, so
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I was there from the beginning, but I was there for pretty early. pretty early in their career, and watching them rise to the point that they've gotten to just brings me so much joy because I like they hold such a special place in my heart where I'm like, you preach so much love and good things into the
Hmm.
world, and you just want the best for everyone. And I just like genuinely believe that they're such good people and deserve so many things. And watching them just like finally rise to the top and like be
I
given all of these
know.
opportunities. Like they made a song with Nicki Minaj. I love Nicki Minaj so much. She is a queen. She is so good. I watched her on Ellen recently.
Shit.
Best
I'll take
episode
a
of
look then.
Ellen ever. Personal opinion. But yeah, I especially watching them
Hmm.
collaborate because I love Nicki and I love BTS, and then they made a song and I was like, this is everything. This is literally everything. This is all of the fuel I
Ah,
need. I'm good.
ah, biggest of all time. I don't even know who's up next. Whenever I think of like who's killing it now, and like there are people who like they're killing it, and then there are people who go above and beyond killing it, and then I'm just like I can't even imagine who's next. Whether it comes out of Big
Hmm.
Hit, I can't even imagine who would even try. Like because I think they're working on another group now. I'm not sure. I know they had auditions, but like whoever's coming next out of Big Hit, or if anyone's gonna pop
Hmm.
the same way as BTS in the next few years or something. Because I'm just like, and it just also kind of makes me sad because I'm like, you really have to appreciate the fact that they're popping right now, and like just soak it all in because you know it's not forever, and then you're just like,
Yeah.
who's next? Like,
They crank
I
out
know,
groups in South Korea like there's no tomorrow. Like, I swear to God,
I
every
know.
day there's
There's a
three
lot
new
going on
groups.
over there.
At this point, I've like given up on
Yeah,
trying to keep up with them because I've already taken in so many other groups, and I like began to
yeah.
like I went through all of the OGs up until like
Hmm.
GOT7,
Yeah,
BTS,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Blackpink,
I,
Red Velvet era,
hmm.
NCT, and that's kind of where I stopped because I just can't like take in all of these
Okay,
new
Stray Kids.
groups.
I don't listen to
No,
them.
I
I just know
stopped
that
at
my cousin's
Stray
obsessed with
Kids.
them.
That's where I stopped. My friend Alex got me into them. I had no idea who they were, and she was like, she had like like a heart attack when I told her that I didn't know who they were, and she showed me their song. I was like, this is really good. I really like this. And so
Hmm.
she followed all of them on Instagram on my account. And um I like don't follow them as
Hmm.
closely as I do GOT7 and BTS. Uh, but I do
I
really
have to
like their
look into them.
stuff. But that's
Yeah,
just kind
if
of
my
like my
cousin really
cutoff.
likes them, there has to be something there. But according to my other cousins, they're like, there's nothing special about them. And I was like, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Um,
There's literally, I'm just looking around my room and I'm like, dang, there really isn't a single aspect of my life that I don't relate back to Marvel. Like, this is a realization that I'm having right now. There's not a single thing that I
that's
don't relate back. Like, I've really, like,
that's
deep
amazing.
dive connected this.
This is recorded, by the way. Yeah.
Ooh, dang. Dang. I never noticed that. That kind of has me, like, a little tripped out, but I guess it's kind of cool.
Can I see? This is your room, right? Can I see it?
Yes.
It's okay. Not
It's a
judging
bit
here.
messy. Oh God, all right. This is like I have been adjusting to new schedules.
You're gonna
Oh
prepare me for
gosh.
this entire mess that's going on. It's okay. Yeah.
It's kind of bad. This is like you're about to see the worst of it because
Yeah.
it's not the worst it's ever been. Like
Hmm.
for how bad I can be, this is pretty good. But
Hmm.
it doesn't really make it any cleaner. Like it's still pretty bad. Um all right. So,
Uh,
how do I flip the camera?
that's what the.
So, there it is. Did it. Okay. There's this wall of records that I accumulated myself. I spent like 2 years going to a bunch of yard sales and stuff, just collecting these. And then I hung them
That's
all
so
up
freaking
on my
cool,
wall,
though.
and I made
Like
like
that's so
a
legit.
wallpaper sort of thing. Thanks, man. I put all of my like favorite ones over here because
Hmm.
I just like to like look at them sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I find some of them very appealing to look at. Like this one and this one too. I'm going to pull it off so you can see it. It says for Emily where whenever I may find her, and I don't know why, but I just find this so
Wow.
satisfying and
No, that
nice.
is dope.
And like I think the wall as a whole being so like bright and loud with colors is also very on brand for me. Like that's exactly who
Wait,
I
so
am.
how
Is like
you just removed that
loud and
shit from the
colorful.
wall? What is this?
So they're all so ready. You're about to see. So
Okay.
my walls are white, right? You're about to see the color that it
Is
used to
that
be. Ready?
is that
To be red all of the way.
yeah.
This is actual wall,
Okay, it's Velcro. Okay, okay, okay.
and then Velcro to hold it on,
That's tight.
and then yeah. So we put these all
Yeah.
on individually. We had to plan it out on the floor first, but it
That's so
works.
dope. Yeah.
Also, with them, you can change them
Hmm.
out. Very
I'm
artistically
very
inclined.
simple. I'm super simple. And I do want to have more like pictures and stuff up. Just gotta make the effort. Like I was doing that, but then I kind of just like dropped it. But I do want to have a few things up.
I've always loved the visuals of simple, like very small, minimalistic is the word I'm looking for. Minimalistic visuals and like
Hmm.
ways of living have always been so satisfying to me, but I'm such not a minimalist. Like I'm
Yeah.
way farther from a minimalist overall. It's like I
Yeah.
tried being that and it didn't work out at all. It went right out the window by the next day. I was like, that's just not who I am. I am the most
So that's
extra person.
interesting. So
Like the
do you
most.
think you could dive into that? I guess that combined with like, I
Me
guess
being
the idea
extra?
of minimalism is cool or whatever, but then just not it not working for you. That that's interesting to me. It's
Yeah.
just interesting because like when it comes to okay,
Okay.
so I'll give you an
Yeah.
example where my mindset is with minimalism. I get really deep into the core reason of why we kind of not, but either abandon or don't see the power in it, or are disconnected from minimalism or whatever. So like I have these, let's say, either theories, or let's go with theories. So what I've been taught through personal practice and just realizing a lot of things is like, okay, we live in a biased materialistic world, right? So materialism is a huge thing in our world. um, the system kind of crams
Mm-hmm.
so much in, and it takes out a lot of key elements of ourselves. So then we find parts of ourselves in other people's creations, hence Marvel. Right. Now, if you couldn't relate to the characters, I don't think you'd be into the series. That's a psychological thing, right? So then, if all of that, if you already had all those elements in you, and you didn't have your, and let's say you didn't feel like an outcast, or you had those struggles, whatever, like you were good, like you're 100%, you know what you want to do, you've always been whatever, you were raised properly, this and that. And so you wouldn't have the relation to Marvel, you wouldn't do this, you wouldn't do that. So then you wouldn't have some of the things that you own from them, right? Because you're fulfilled, you're good, okay? Um, and then because materialism is pushed so much, it's about, oh, you'll feel better if you get this or you do this or whatever. And there's a lot of marketing and manipulation and colors and feelings and nostalgia that goes on to encourage people to buy stuff they don't need, right? So again, I'm speaking from a place where I've learned to understand stuff. And so then when people, when okay, one of my advice to people is like, oh, you stress out a lot or whatever, you're trying to clean your life up, or you feel like things are heavy. I'm like, a good way, one thing that's good to do is to declutter and to kind of minimize your stuff. And sometimes we get hung up on holding on to things that we don't need. One way to practice letting go is to actually physically release sentimental things and stuff, because not all of it brings value. In some ways, it kind of just holds us down, because when you have an empty space and it's minimalistic and you have less marketing in front of you, you have a clear mind, right? So then it's like, oh yeah, like if you're able to toss out a lot of things and kind of clear space up, if you have like an empty portion right here, um, it's gonna give you more room to think and like to do and to be and this and that. And so I'll like push for minimalism and like not having more stuff, because it releases a lot of baggage. And so that's, there's science to it, but it's also just like a personal theory. Whereas like, because you could also be empowered by having stuff, you know, like things that mean something to you. Um, and that could be a shit ton of things, like, you know what I mean? But then also, I think the duality and the power also comes from, but can I let go of that? Because that's also empowering, to not feel like I need that symbolism or that thing to give me that strength or that power. Like I have it now permanently in me. So that's where I'm coming from. So I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe you should try like letting go of a lot of the things that you have, because it's
Mm.
probably not serving you. It's probably low key weighing you down, and you don't have room to think, and da 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 da. And it was like that for me. So when I was able to release a lot of things from my room and kind of move things around and make it fit what I wanted it to be, which is like room to move, room to think, room to be creative, and room to always like have the creative juices flowing and the work ethic to keep going. Um, it was just easier. So that's where I'm coming from, and I'm not, and so that's why it's
Mm.
interesting to just hear your viewpoint on like just you, and like how you see what's going on with yourself, and like the stuff in your room and all that being extra, blah blah blah.
So that reason exactly is why I find
Yeah.
minimalism so fascinating and so like
Mm-hmm.
culturally important. And I support it a lot. But my personality, I feel like I
Mm-hmm.
don't know myself perfectly. There's always something new to learn about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I have a pretty good concept of who I am because I had to learn that pretty quickly with like my life's history and stuff. I was forced to learn like who I was and to like value myself and like what makes
Mm-hmm.
me happy and what makes me and an individual in the world. I had to learn that like much faster than the people around me. Um, and having
Mm-hmm.
these things isn't something that like weighs me down. If anything, like
Mm-hmm.
the wild amount of like the clothes that I have, the shoes that I have, I'm
Mm-hmm.
constantly filtering my closet. If I ever, like almost every single time that
That's
I do
good.
laundry, I wear everything that's hanging in my closet, and whatever ends up
Yeah.
being left that I don't touch, I give away. I'll give it to a friend, I'll bring it to Goodwill down the street. I don't hang on to it
Yeah.
because that just is another thing for me to carry around. And but like the things that I do wear, I love wearing them because it's something like I don't know, it's just like playing with that, being able to like change the way I look every day, like being able to do something new. Like I could wear this bright pink
Yeah.
dress with these like pink shiny sneakers one day and then come in the next day with a black trench coat, black turtleneck and black ripped jeans, and it would be like it's a new experience every
Yeah.
time, and being able to just like change it up, you know? And like I feel like if anything that whole like having that like freedom to move and freedom to think doesn't come
Mm-hmm.
from my environment. It's something that I generate within myself. So if anything, having all of these things,
Yeah.
bright and exciting things to look at all the time, fuels me because I'll notice something new, or I will take from an experience from that one thing and I'll turn it into something completely different, and I'll like turn it into a story, or I will dance about it, or I will do something with it. Like everything kind of is like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like everything almost acts as a tool in one way and just
Mm-hmm.
something that makes me happy
That's
on
good.
another thing.
That's so good.
So,
And I really respect that.
like I
That's
love the idea.
real. Um, I
Yeah.
think that when it's like that for people, that's great. For a lot of people, it's not.
Mm.
They kind of just have a bunch of shit, um, and they just
Hmm.
don't put the effort to like really think about
Yeah.
what to do with it or like to make the changes. But when it's that approach, I resonate with that. I understand that a lot.
Yeah.
That's dope.
I was just walking around in my new Crocs. That's why
I
I
don't know
laughed.
anybody who owns those. Not you.
Dude, I have one of them has a bunch of Avengers on them, and then another shoe has obscure things that make me happy. And they're yellow, and I love yellow right now. I don't know why. Yellow is
That's
kind of
dope.
like my
Yellow's a nice
statement
color.
color at the moment.
I don't even think I definitely don't wear yellow. No, I don't.
I love yellow.
But I also haven't like so for in my world when it comes to like fashion and stuff, I haven't really bought anything besides like some recent Kinja stuff. Like I just don't, and if I do, it'll just be like a thrift store maybe. So I don't really buy new things. And I also just don't see it as like one of the first things I'd buy. I'm just not that kind of person. I know that a part of me is like is down for that and is cool and like I'm down for style and like I'd put more time into it, but it's just not a priority for me now. Um, but I would definitely have way more color and lots of other options. I actually have more shoes than I wear. Not a ton, but definitely more than I wear. Um, yeah, I enjoy it, and but I definitely don't get. I don't necessarily get that same. I don't get that same feeling that you do. But that's cool that you get that.
Yeah. I feel you on the thrifting. I majority of my closet I either made or thrifted or
That's what's
got from a
up.
friend. Like I'm currently wearing a jersey best friend. Uh, this was given to me by a teammate. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this was given to me by a friend from school. This used to be my sister's. She doesn't wear it anymore, but I love it. Um, and this is technically supposed to be a pair of PJs that my mom got me for Easter, but you know what? I
Mm-hmm.
wear it with the matching pair of
That was
pants
nice.
all the time because
It's
it's
cute.
really comfy. Thanks. And like my old costumes and like this came from a tour. This is a Troye Sivan shirt. Troye Sivan is a very important person to me. Like very, very important. I actually, speaking about that, I keep a list of ready. I keep a list of celebrities I live for on my positivity
Yeah,
mirror
that's freaking dope.
because I have this huge mirror, right? Hey.
Mm,
And I have all of these good things on it. Like we did compliment cards and social studies,
mm-hmm.
and I have this thank you note from my English teacher that I'm writing for. I made him a stuffed Joggin' John. Joggin' John is a character that he drew when he was a kid, but he incorporated it into his classroom. He kind of looks like that. And I made a stuffed Joggin' John for him for Christmas because my class was awful to him. Me and my best friend were the only ones that liked him and respected him as a teacher. And he was like really down. So I was like, let's make him this thing. And he wrote us these really nice letters. So I put it
Mm-hmm.
up. And I also have my stuff from the Express Tour, um, my partnership with Breezy Swim and some other brands that I work with. This no bad days
Mm.
list that my best friend made for me for when I'm down. I look at that a lot. And this life chart that
Oh.
my school therapist helped me put together, where it basically says things. So it's on a spectrum where what my values are. I'm happy when I feel bad, and sometimes I feel, and then I'm at the center.
Yeah,
So the idea is that when my values are challenged, I go farther in this direction. But when I don't feel like they're
that's really
challenged,
cool. I've
I'm
never
farther in
seen
this
that before.
direction.
Oh man, I'm probably gonna do something like that in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really helpful. It's
Yeah,
like,
because you can see it.
I don't know, it
Yeah.
makes like life a lot easier and stuff. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever I start to like freak out ever, like that's a go-to. And it like reminds me that it's like oh, some of it's
Mm-hmm.
like within my head and it's not,
Yeah.
you know? Like I'm
Yeah.
at the center of
That's
it and I
so
can change
important.
that.
Mm.
And then other stuff like sticky note drawings, stuff from camp, sticker from Blitz. I work there. Um,
Damn.
morning affirmations, a letter
Protocol.
from my
Okay.
parents, protocol.
That's freaking tight.
Woo-hoo.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
I love my.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the big thing that I forgot about. Ready? This is something Anthony told me, and I put it up here ever since. Do what you love, and the happy will follow. But above that, I have all the other things: freedom, success, acceptance, because they're all on that list. But
Yeah.
all of but the main thing that I worry about
Ooh,
is
I love
being
the topic
happy.
of happy. That topic of who was I talking to? I was talking to one of my friends. Now I'm jumping into totally different things. I love that because it's true. Because like how we view happy and like what it means and how to obtain it and this and that. And my definition and how to obtain it over time has definitely changed. It's more, it's stronger than what it was before. Because I would just say happiness is a mindset, and it's true. But there are certain variables that need to be in place in order for that
Mm.
to be real. That's cool though. Do what you love and happy, your happy will follow. Hmm. Just seeing it, like I know that, but seeing it is cool. The emphasis on the happy. Um, too
Yeah.
much sauce. Um,
What was the reason I
oh, because I
started
asked.
showing you? Oh yeah. And then there's all my other nerdy stuff, but I'm gonna paint those shoes.
You
Those
said paint
shoes are
them?
kind of dirty. I'm gonna paint them.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I colored them with chalk once. So they're these little white slip-ons. Ready? They're real torn up. I got them thrifting. But they're these
Yeah.
little white slip-ons, and I drew on them with chalk when I was babysitting once. And I really liked the way that they looked when they were all colorful, so I would wear them to school anyways, and everyone was like, what's on your shoes?" And I'm like, "Chalk, man." They're like, "No." But they're really dirty and all the way, and I'm gonna paint them so that they stay that colorful.
What color?
A lot of them. There was I had so pink on the front part,
Mm-hmm.
blue on the lining around that, um, purple on the heel, blue on the lining
Mm-hmm.
around that, yellow on the sides here, green around the lining of the top, and then the tongue of the shoe
Oh,
itself was
that's
orange, and
dope.
then the lining around that was also blue. So very, very bright and colorful, but that's how I like it.
Um, I'm also bouncing back between you and Twitch, so some activity going on. Uh, no, it's
Yeah, what's the
okay.
chat
There's
saying? I'm
someone
sorry
was
I couldn't
like,
get
"She has
that.
no pants on?" Question mark. Um,
No, I have
natural
shorts on. It's just a
underwear.
big jersey.
Um, and that it's a trap. Talking to Dante,
I'm
You know
16.
Dante, right? B boy. Yeah. It's his birthday.
Yes,
Um,
I think.
I said I'm an inspiration,
Happy
or his like
birthday.
my mindset. I was like, oh shoot, that's cool. He's mad young, so that's cool. Talking about Twitch a little bit. Um, um,
Mm.
um, oh, what else is happening? Someone talked about not having empathy, and they asked if it's an important thing to have. And then they had this whole, I guess, mind thing. They kind of just was like, well, I just had a deep moment with myself. Um, Booking a session with me. Someone wants to see the setup. Uh, um, I can talk to you. You could definitely, because there's an app. My friend, the one who was streaming or was with me earlier, she would just like occasionally bounce back between this and the chat. So, I mean, you don't have to or anything, but nah.
Ah.
um, oh, why not? It's hard to hear. Like, really? No one said anything about volume. What about everybody else? Hold up. Hold up. Okay, well the volume's at max now, so you should be able to hear us fine. No one said that. I don't know why it turned down either. Do we sound better? Oh yeah, I mean, but between you
I
and me, I think
I
we
think
should
it
be
sounds
okay.
fine. I
But
didn't know that
I
there
can
was
control
a thing.
obviously a lot of stuff for the stream. Um,
Yeah.
but if it was low, and I just realized that the mic volume wasn't on 100%, it was at like 70 or something. So I think it's just him, bro. No, well the mic, I turned it up. I don't know if it got any louder for you guys. And then actually, I'll see what the volume is for Carmen. It's at 100%. It's not at 200. I could turn it up to 200, but that's a force. Okay. I definitely had a thought. I was gonna say something. I don't remember unless you were saying something. Okay.
I
Um,
don't think I was saying something.
I love talking to people who are like. I mean, I love talking to people in general, but it's really nice when like I just think that that's good. That's really important, and it's good that like I mean I don't know. Like there's some impact happening right now with the people that we're talking to and the fact that you're here and that you are the way that you are. That's important. I don't know if you think about that. I mean, I do, but your energy's good.
Thanks. I I just consider
Yeah, I
myself
mean
a
that's all it
small
really
being in this
is.
world, just trying to get around. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Impact
Yeah.
is never something I've really thought. Like, I'm aware of influence. Like, I'm a babysitter. So, like, I when it comes to like influencing people around me physically with like words and actions, it's very important. Um, Prime example, my little sister, she is 14, and a lot of kids my age in my area, they do a lot of bad stuff. Drink, smoke, other illegal things. I do not partake in those things, and I've been
Hmm.
telling Mia for as long as I can remember that stuff is not cool. Please do not do that. I do not do that. Don't do that. And I genuinely, with the friend group that she has, especially, I genuinely like the fact that she stays
Yeah.
sober and she genuinely believes that those things are not cool. I feel like me preaching that the way I
Yeah.
did, because that's not what my older brothers did with me. I love them
Hmm.
so much. They were very irresponsible as teenagers. Um, so the fact that I was taught to like, hey, try this, and I had to myself be like, no thanks, because I was told that's bad, and then have to like teach what I know is bad to my sister, unlike my brothers
Hmm.
did, and like see that difference in action and behavior. Like, it just makes me very aware of influence and like the way that you interact with people, how that changes them, and how
Hmm.
words stick with them.
Uh,
You know,
ki-
I never
Sorry, give
like.
me one sec.
I
I
guess
definitely don't
influence and
think they're the
impact are
same.
one and the same. But
They are together. Hello? It's my mom. What? Yeah, I'm still streaming. No. Yeah. Yeah, she's been working on homework the whole time. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, she's like a few minutes away. Good night.
Mom.
Wait, kids at my school make. I know. I remember what you said. You said impact and influence. Um, Kids at my school make people like smoking stuff with them. Have you tried? I don't know why I'm typing. Yeah, it depends on what your, I guess what it depends on for setup. You can get a pretty super budget, like depending again how much you want to throw down for an entire setup, but it's not that expensive. I could put one together for you if you wanted, and it wouldn't cost all that much. Okay, or at least my definition of it wouldn't cost all that much. So I'd say my budget is, I mean, my setup is pretty budget. I do have a nice monitor. I didn't pay full price for it though, because I'm slick. But yeah, okay. And talked about influence and impact. You can definitely make an impact and not be influential. Because an impact can be any. It doesn't have to
I
be
don't
good or
know how
bad.
that would
It can be
work,
either or,
but
depending on how they perceive it. You know what I mean? Like the impact is just it is what it is, and you could have not necessarily have an influence, but you're just like making a comment that I guess makes a dent on someone. It could be good or bad, but it draws a reaction or a response. I don't know. Maybe it is like one and the same. Yeah.
no, I see that difference though.
Yeah.
Because there are some comments from when I was younger. I have not forgotten. So, you right.
Damn, yo. Yo, Dante, right? He's 12 years old. He just turned 12. He's on this stream, and like, he was like, kids at my school make people like whatever smoking whatever with them, and he's all like, when you do, and I asked him if he's ever tried, and he said that when you do, you're basically crushing your dreams because if you want to do big things, nobody's gonna think that is cool. Wait, what do you mean my stream went offline? Uh, uh. Oh, it did.
Uh,
Whoops. Oh, that means they probably couldn't even hear
dang,
me
quite a few technical difficulties, bro.
the whole time. It's okay. Proud of you, man. That's a good mindset. You keep working. You start mad. Yo, he's so young. So, like, he's gonna be a monster when he's 20. He's already good. He's better than me at some things. So, and his work ethic is, from what I know, is really good. Yeah. You're dope, Carmen.
Thanks. I try to be. I try to be good. I try and be a good person. Do good things.
Just being yourself is really important. Like, it's so good and refreshing. Because when I know someone isn't, it's so easy to tell. And I don't really sense that with you, which is freaking awesome.
Thanks. I got really tired of trying to be someone else really quickly. Like,
Yeah.
real talk.
Yeah,
I
at
went
least you
through
went
that
through it
phase
and it's
within
over,
like
and
2
you
years.
still, we have a lot of time to just keep having fun.
Yeah. I went through a lot of phases very quickly. Like, the whole stage where, like, prime example, like, I went through my emo phase like 2 years. Most
Yeah.
people, if they have an emo phase, it lasts for most of high school or middle school or both. Um, or like the part, you know how kids, when they're younger and they have siblings, you
Hmm.
like hate your sibling. You're like, I love them, but like, I hate them. For me, my sister and my brothers are my best friends. Like, I went through the whole phase of like, my sister's the worst. I hate my family within like 3 years. And then I was like, I am so sorry you guys had to deal with my
Oh, that's
terribleness.
funny. But that's cool. I've never had a bad relationship in any way with my brother, which is cool.
That's that's pretty unusual for what I know. Like, real talk, I don't think I've ever someone say that they haven't like gone through a
Yeah.
phase where they're like, I
I've
hate
definitely
my
felt
family.
certain things
Meh.
towards my
Like,
family, but specifically my brother, we've always been good. And he's younger than me, like 7 years younger. But like, I've had an entire like, I had
oh
goals
well,
for
that's
him.
why.
Like, not for him to achieve certain things, but for me to instill things into him and hoping that a lot of things resonate, which they did. So he helped a lot. He helped me develop leadership and like teaching and understanding how someone works and whatever. He was very easygoing. So we've always had a good relationship. I never like undermined him or like I never treated him like he was younger than me, which was also a good thing. I felt like I never babied him ever. We're just like tight. And now he's in Georgia for school. But he's going after
And
it, and
he's
I hope
away.
that that fire just like it just remains and he kills it because I'm stoked for him and he's sure of what he wants and I just hope that that environment is really what sets him off.
Yeah, my little sister, I love her so. Oh my God, I love my sister Mia with my entire existence. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she wants to be a doctor. She wants to be a general surgeon, but she's going through all of the emotional, she's going through a lot of like the insecurity and self-doubt and stuff that
Mm-hmm.
I went through, but I went through that very quickly and much earlier. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I did all of that stuff from sixth to eighth grade. So by the point that I'm at now as a junior, um, I'm lucky and happy to say that I know who I am, what I want,
Mm-hmm.
and I know what I need to do to
Mm-hmm.
try and achieve that. And I know what kind of people to surround myself with. She, on the other hand, is still in the process of learning that, and she has a lot of self-doubt in her ability to be a doctor. Yeah, and it's like I tell her all the time, like, you can do it. You can absolutely do it. You are smart enough to do it. You are strong enough to do it. You are independent enough to do it. You can do it. You just have to do your best, work your hardest, keep doing
Mm-hmm.
what you can to achieve that goal, and you will get there. Like, you don't have to be some mega genius to be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
You can be you and be a doctor
Mm-hmm.
because just believe in yourself because I
Mm-hmm.
believe. Like, I tell her all the time,
Yeah.
she's great. She just needs to
You've
believe in
you've
herself.
definitely been in points where you haven't believed in yourself, right? Yeah.
Oh, of course. I still get in those points sometimes in my head.
Go
Um,
ahead.
I'm the
No,
type,
yeah,
the
yeah,
way
go for
I,
it.
mm.
That's why I asked.
This is a whole other thing. Um, I have the kind of brain where it's like when I am
Mm-hmm.
active and out and I'm not within myself, like when I am actively working hard or working on something, if I'm like if I'm active physically or mentally, I have a certain way of like thinking. It's like my brain has switches. So like during my school day, I'm on one switch. And then when I get home, I'm on another switch. And as soon as I get to the studio, different switch. And there's a whole
Mm-hmm.
variety of them. And I haven't found all of the switches yet, but the ones that I have
Yeah.
found, put me through a roller coaster. Um, my mental health is very interesting and a little bit difficult. And my sister shares some of my struggles. She just doesn't want to address it because she's also afraid of being the weird kid or whatever. But I'm like, mental health does not make you weird. It just makes you a human with things to address and be
Mm.
aware of. Um, it's okay. Like, but I have. It's taken me a while to like figure out what my deal is, but I've always been raised knowing that I have ADD. Always known that. So that's like
Mm.
fine. Yeah, I have
Mm-hmm.
ADD, and I am normal with ADD. That doesn't make me any weirder. And then as my life went on, more things started to arise, like my
Mm-hmm.
anxiety
Yeah.
and my seasonal depression. We talked about my seasonal depression, but basically the way it works with me is I've
Yo.
started conquering some of the things that make me anxious and like
Yeah.
instill that like awful like feeling within myself. Like I used to have awful anxiety when it came to disappointing others. I've started to
Okay.
like think more about disappointing myself and like because yes, I don't want to disappoint
Yup.
other people, but in the end, I'm the one that has to live with it. So if I'm disappointing myself, then that's where the real fall is. So, and it's like other things like that. Like, I would get terribly anxious if I was ever late, because if I was ever late, I would get in trouble. But now I'm less scared of being late and more like prepared to like keep people updated, let them know like, hey, I hit traffic. I'm gonna be this many minutes late. Okay, get that communication out there. Like try and like
Mm-hmm.
develop more of those skills that make that less of a problem, you know? Um responsibility. I still kind of am. I have this thing that my friend Quinn calls Peter Pan syndrome where I am scared to grow up.
That's it. That's it.
Utterly terrified to grow up. I hit 16 and that was it. I didn't want to get, yeah, I didn't want to get any older. Like, I don't want to grow up. And when I was little, all I wanted was to grow up and have the freedoms of like doing things. And now that I have the exact degree to what
Yeah.
I want, I don't want to get any older. And constant like reminder that like I have to do PSATs this year. I have to start applying for like scholarships and colleges and like
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be a grown adult that has to manage my own legal
Mm-hmm.
information and has to like manage my own time
Mm-hmm.
and everything is to me and I'm alone in that. Not well, I guess alone in that isn't the right words, but it's like me myself and I in that realm. Like I am an adult. I have to be an adult person. And that thought has been utterly terrifying. It took me so long. My parents had been like asking me to get a job for a year to 2 years. No, 2 years. 2 years and something months asking me to get a job. And I just couldn't do it because I was like, what
Yeah.
do you mean get a job? I can't get a job. I've been babysitting. That's a job.
Uh-huh.
I can just do that. I'll just keep babysitting. It's fine. I don't need a job. Like, because that fear of growing up that I just like
I
couldn't,
see.
I couldn't get past it. And I would have panic attacks about it all the time. I get a job at the
Yeah.
trampoline park across the street. I am so happy at that job. Like everything is so much better now that I have a job. I'm like sorry, you were right. Uh, but like, I don't know. It's like all of these little things
Mm.
that I've always been so worried about are starting to become so minute and like not like
Mm.
I was so zoned in on the details, I forgot about the big picture, and I'm finally
Mm-hmm.
starting to step back and see the big picture and see what actually matters.
That's
So
freaking sick. That's
that's where
awesome.
I'm at currently.
Wow. I like that.
Took a lot, but we're here, dude. Anyway.
There's so many people not in that place. I know.
Dude, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Forgot what I was gonna say. Um, um, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know it's gonna
Yeah.
take time and I like can't force it. We were talking about siblings. This is what we were talking about. I just want the best for my sister and I tend to forget that I can't do
Mm-hmm.
everything for her. She has to do stuff on her own. Like I can't be there to be her big sister to protect her and keep her safe all the time. She has to take her own falls and learn from them herself and grow into her person. And I'm the type of sister where I'm like,
Yeah.
who's bullying you? Who
Mm-hmm.
do I need to talk to? Like, excuse me? But, like, she needs to deal with those, like, crappy people and, like, deal with those situations by herself. I can't be there to, like, hold her hand the whole time. Like, she is not 5 years old anymore. She is 14. She'll be going into
Mm-hmm.
driver's ed within the next year. Like she's gonna be getting her own
Mm-hmm.
job. She's in the same point of growing up as I am. And I don't like it, but I have to deal with it because as though even though she's like
Yeah.
12 years old in my mind and I'm like, you can do anything, believe in yourself. She's like, I'm 14. I'm 3 inches taller than you,
Yeah.
and I am just trying to be a normal kid. Like, she's not, she thinks very differently, and she has a
Wow.
very different personality than me. We essentially are polar
Yeah.
opposites, and that's why we attract so much. And, yeah, it's just kind of sitting here and having to watch and like wait for her to slowly come upon these thought processes. I think I don't know English, but basically learn to
I
think
feel
freely
that.
on her own.
Um, as an older sibling, as much as I also believe in that, I definitely. I mean, I was younger, so I was pushing. I was giving my brother a lot of big picture stuff, a lot, constantly. And it wasn't forceful or anything. It was just kind of like a reminder. But then also, so as much as I was telling him stuff, I was also he was in the environments that I was in. So he would get to witness my friends when they were over, or what I was doing outside of the house and this and that when he wasn't really allowed to do too much. But then he started getting more freedoms and what he was able to do. I remember him saying like, "Yeah, your friends are way cooler than mine. Like my friends are just like blah blah blah." And I'm like, "I'm glad you think that way because at least you see it. You know, some people try really hard to like fit into a group or just to be accepted. But he didn't really care about that. And he really appreciated the energy that my friends brought. They're much older, of course, and they also respected and treated him not like he was 12, you know. Um, and so when I was able to just instill a very few big picture qualities, it definitely helped. So some of the things that I pushed onto him were basically like, um, I would tell him all the time. I was like, yo, like I graduated and I talked to like one person here and there from high school, when at the time I felt like a lot of my friends were going to be my friends. And I was like, but then I realized what separates us is like life, it's adulting, growing up, and realizing that we just have different interests, so we drift apart, so it's natural. But like, I'm like, don't hang on to that, like your friends, or get too caught up in whatever potential dramas might go down, or you think they're going to be your friends forever. And that would just come up enough, where he was like, he knew that. And so when I saw it and I would see like how he treats his friends and stuff, and I was like, okay, you get it. I'm like, all right, like you've shown that you got it. Um, and then I would say the same thing about girls. I was like, dude, I don't know what your world is like when it comes to that stuff. And then I would tell him like, you know, what's happened to me, the goods and the bads, and like what he can expect, and that one day he just may get completely crushed, and that'll be okay. But if it does happen, to be really amped, because when you fall that hard, the rise is crazy. So that, like, when I think big picture, right? It's like, okay, I'm in that place now that my brother had told me about, and it sucks ass, but I know what's coming. Like, you know what I mean? And so when you're able to instill the long term stuff, because it's always like when you're young, you think everything that's happening to you is like forever or permanent. But when you teach them, I guess, the core important things about stuff like that, it works. And I don't know, I got lucky and he was able to listen, and he doesn't really go through the same stuff that, or he didn't even really go through any of the same stuff that like a normal kid would go through, with like worrying too much about people's opinions, or like he didn't care about any of that stuff throughout his entire school career. And I was like, I'm so glad you didn't fall into any of that stuff, because you know it's a complete waste of time. I'm like, yo, find that thing that like sets you on fire. Like, and so for me, when I was able to show that, not just say it, but be like, dance was the thing, and he knew that, you know, I would do it at home, or I would be out for that reason, and I would talk about it. He would see my friends. He appreciates the energy. So he's not only, again, hearing it from me, but he's seeing the reality of my choices. And so that set a good impression on him. And then when he found what he liked, it was a game changer. Yeah. So
See, I wish it would have gone that way for me, but she, being only 2 years younger
yeah,
than
yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah,
she
yeah,
was
yeah.
with me
That's
on that
different.
whole
Yeah,
roller coaster of me figuring out my life. Like, so like me finding
yeah,
the big picture now is very different from if I had found it back then and I had been hunting it then. But I myself was in and out of that, trying to fit in and then be like, no, I love myself,
yeah.
and then in and out of
Yeah,
like
I guess the gap
that
definitely
whole
does help. I
sitch.
mean, I
So
mean, it makes a difference, the age gap difference. Um, the weird thought though that I had when I was young that I'll never forget was when he was 3. My mom, he wanted to play video games. I only had like, no, I didn't only. I was playing a single player game. He wanted to play. He was like complaining and like about to cry, and I was like, right here, right. So I'm just standing there and watching him die, and in that moment, my whole life flashed before my eyes. Okay, and it was it was super pivotal, because I was like, he lives with me. He's my brother, and I'm gonna have to deal with this all the time. So I was like, this is not gonna happen like this. And so from that moment moving forward, I just saw it all. I was like, I want him to be someone that I can hang out with, that I can turn to, an equal. I'm like, how old was I? I was like 10 or 11 years old, having all these thoughts really fast in that one moment. I was like, I'm gonna teach him a lot of things. I just have to. Um, so, and then what else inspired that was seeing television and seeing how siblings never got along. I was like, I don't want that. I don't want the whole stay out of my room and da, 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 and just fighting about the dumbest stuff, and like treating him like a slave, or like all that kind of stuff when you take advantage of someone younger. I was like, no, I want him to be self-sufficient. I'm 11, by the way. I'm like, I just want to emphasize that. I'm like, I want him to be self-sufficient, because I don't want him to ask me for favors. That was like a selfish thing. I want him to, because I would always have to ask for help when it came to school, and I was like, I don't want him to have to do that. So I started teaching him a lot of basic math, English stuff before he went to school. I taught him a lot of communication through video games. So that was fun. And I usually like would never let him win though, so like he'd always get pissed, and would cry. That stuck with him for a while, and I know that that drove his competitive edge. So I was like, that's where it comes from, because I used to beat his ass all the time. And then the day when he could start like then he would strive to be better than me. And then he reached a point where it's like, okay, we're equals at this point. And then he continued playing video games longer than I was, and whatever. And so he has that competitive edge in him, because he doesn't like losing. Um, but yeah, I had that thought at a very young age, because I just wanted him to be sufficient, and I just wanted someone to relate to. Um, and so, and my education and learning came from dance helped, YouTube helped, and my health class. Those were like the three things: dance, YouTube, and health class. The one thing I retained from health class was stress is self-inflicted, and then everything is in your mind. That you can control all of it. When I learned that, I was like, because what resonated was my mom would always say, "I'm stressed, I'm stressed," and then one day I was like, she would always say, "You stress me out," and I was like, "Mom, you stressed yourself out, because you let me stress you out." And from then, like I just started saying it all the time. I was like 14 years old, 15 years old. Um, so I was thankful for that. YouTube came along, and I started learning a lot from that. And then dance kind of gave me a path, and I started learning about myself and the importance of passion and having an outlet and all that. And then I was able to pass all of that on to my brother. So if I'm like 15, he's growing up with me, 16 years old, and he's like 9 years old, and I'm teaching it all the time, everything to him all the time. Yeah. So I guess yeah. Siblings.
Yeah, I kind of got that experience from my older brother
Damn.
because there's a 13-year age gap between me and my older brothers. Um, yeah. Same mom, different dad. I have five of them. Two of them are by
Yeah.
blood with the same mom, different dad. The other three are their best friends from middle school on. Uh, they've all been in my life since I was born. So the only disconnect between me and
Mm.
the other three is the fact that they're not blood, technically. But they are my brothers, and I put them in my family tree, and they are a huge part of my life, especially my brother Garen. He has been my brother Cody's best friend since middle school, and
Mm-hmm.
he is one of the most important people in my life. He he the one that was willing to level with me and like treat
Mm-hmm.
me as an equal and like enlighten me in things, and he understands me and is willing to hear me on a level that my other brothers kind of can't, because they still think of me as the like, you know, infant that they held at 13 years old, like but Garen sees me as the person that I am today, and he like willing to talk to me and be real with me, and he trusts me with some of his stuff, and I trust him with some of mine, and it's awesome that he
Mm-hmm.
does that because he changed the way that I grew up a lot, uh, just in the fact that he was there in a different way that my other brothers were. Like
Okay.
he would be the one to invite me to hang out with them while they played video games. Um, and listen to them scream swears at the TV. um, but he just kind of took me in under his wing immediately. Meanwhile, my other brothers, they would try and guard me from things, but he wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
He would let me be there
That's
for all
good.
of it, and then formulate my own decisions and opinions about it.
That's really dope.
Yeah. So when they would like go out and like smoke a blunt in the backyard, and I came out there, my other brothers
Uh,
would try and shoo me away, and he'd be like, "No, no, let her watch, like let her view this and like formulate her own opinions about it." And then I would learn about what it was and like what it did to your body, and then later, when other people, not them, but other people would be like, "Yo, try this," I'm like, "No, no, thank you." So
yeah.
I don't know. He did the
Okay.
kind of big picture stuff for me that you did,
That's so cool.
your brother.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love my family a lot, a
That's
lot, a lot.
good. I like to hear that.
I love a lot.
Oh, you say a living
I say
Care
this
Bear?
all the time, but it's very true.
Oh
I'm like a
shit.
living care. Yeah, like I'm a real life Care Bear for real. Like I, all I do is like genuinely out of my heart and soul, I just throw
That's
love at
good.
everyone.
That's important. And fun. And healthy. Man.
Yeah. I'm like, Oprah, you get love. You get love. You get love. Everybody gets love.
Man. That's fun. Well, I'm glad I know more about the different aspects of you. That helps me in a lot of ways, and then it also is able to help me help you in the future. Hmm. Because
Yeah,
you're
for
trying to,
sure.
and now I'm just jumping back to like the first question. It's like, oh, how far are you trying to go with dance? So I like when someone knows 100% what they're trying to do, because then I can just throw things at you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah. And I can catch them.
Well, I hope you're around more in the future. Yeah, your energy is good.
I plan on it.
Yeah, if you ever, no, go ahead.
I say it all. Um, I was gonna say I say it all the time when I get my license. When I pass my driver's test, I'm gonna be in and out of
Yeah.
trying to do more stuff. Try and be down in Boston and like around all the other areas. Just take in all the experiences I may not be able to take in
Mm.
otherwise without like my team or something. Like
Yeah.
do the opportunities,
I'm also
make new
grateful for
things,
your
learn
parents. Your
things.
parents are chill. Hmm.
My parents are awesome. I have the coolest
Mm-hmm.
parents in the world. They're great. I
Good
love
energy.
my parents so much. Happiness, sunshine, rainbows. All right, I'll let you do your thing and end your
Okay.
stream.
That was fun.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Adios. It was very
Bye
fun.
bye.
Adios, amigo.